The U.S. Supreme Court is set to hear some blockbuster cases when the 6 conservative and 3 liberal justices open their new 9-month term on Monday.
Outside of law, these are highly partisan issues. And Second Amendment rights, school choice rights, unfortunately, has become highly partisan. And of course, the debate over abortion.
They'll hear cases on the death penalty, separation of church and state, and a major Second Amendment case that could establish a right to carry a handgun outside the home.
The big case, the one that's going to get the most attention, is the Dobbs case out of Mississippi. This is a major one because it's a direct challenge to Roe versus Wade. So it's not just like a partial birth abortion ban. This is a 15-week ban. It's the most serious abortion case the court has taken in decades.
It's likely to be the most important term for abortion rights in at least 3 decades. The court will take up a Mississippi law that would ban virtually all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy.
Planned Parenthood and NARAL essentially said, well, you can't side with Mississippi on this because that would be a change to the fundamentals of Roe and Casey. That would challenge the actual merits of Roe and Casey. Surely that can't be what Mississippi is asking for. Mississippi came right back on top and said, yep, you got it exactly right.
Roe v. Wade is on thin ice. At the moment, it really feels more as if it's a question of when, not if, and how, not whether.
If Roe is reversed, probably almost half the states in the United States would strictly limit abortion and perhaps ban it altogether.
There is a perfect storm brewing at the United States Supreme Court. This perfect storm puts Roe v. Wade in the crosshairs of Supreme Court jurisprudence, and I think this particular challenge to Roe v. Wade has a reasonable chance of succeeding on the merits.
Iran's new president took office saying his government would return to talks over a nuclear deal.
The Iranians, through their foreign minister, have asked for $10 billion, not to re-sign the nuclear deal, but to get back into discussions with the United States directly.
Iran has ramped up its production of nuclear material. It's enriched uranium to nearly 60% purity, the closest ever to weapons grade.
The Iranians know exactly how to play this. They've done this before. They've done it over the last decade. No discussions of substance without cash. Then comes the cash, and then comes no substantive discussions that really mean anything.
The United States remains committed to preventing Iran from gaining a nuclear weapon. We're working with the P5+1 to engage Iran diplomatically and to seek a return to JCPOA. We're prepared to return to full compliance if Iran does the same.
What do you mean we'll go back to full compliance? You mean we're just going to keep giving money to Iran? Because we never got the access we want. We never got the compliance.
I'm calling on world powers. Don't fall into the trap of Iranian deception that will lead to additional concessions. They're dragging on. We must set a clear-cut deadline that says until here. The Iranian nuclear program is at the most advanced point ever.
Is there anyone seriously thinking that President Biden is not so desperate to get back to the table and so desperate to get back into the so-called Iranian nuclear deal that he's not going to release their $10 billion? And they're going to say, as Jordan, you said perfectly correctly, that it's not like we're giving them any money. It's their money. We're just not freezing it anymore as a confidence-building measure. That's what they're going to say. The danger, of course, is what this means for the region, not just today, but a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now.
Reports are coming in that China could be mounting a full-scale invasion of Taiwan.
More than 145 Chinese military warplanes tested Taiwan's air defense over a 4-day span and a year full of provocative military posturing.
145 flights in the last 4 days, 750 flights into the airspace this year. And so the sabers are being rattled. Taiwan is rightly concerned.
I've spoken with Xi about Taiwan. We agree we'll abide by the Taiwan agreement. That's where we are. And we made it clear that I don't think he should be doing anything other than abiding by the agreement.
He said, and we made it clear that I don't think he should do anything other than abiding by the agreement. But he is not part of that agreement. The Chinese Communist Party did not sign on to that agreement, so there's nothing for him to abide by.
Defense of Taiwan is in our own hands. And we are absolutely committed to that. And if China is going to launch a war against Taiwan, we will fight to the end. And that is our commitment.
Taiwan has 24 million people. They are armed heavily because of us. But at the same time, there's no way they could succeed in a war with China short of someone else helping them.
Under the Taiwan Relations Act, we do not commit to defend Taiwan. All we do is we commit to sell them weapons so that Taiwan can defend itself. I would hope that the United States would actually come to the defense of Taiwan.
The Biden administration is being tested, and their response so far has been very weak, which is only going to encourage more bad behavior.
This is increasingly a right time to test the will of the Biden administration and to test the will of the American people. And Taiwan, I think, could be part of a perfect storm.
Breaking news that has come out, which is that a federal judge, has blocked the, what's been talked about pretty controversially, the Texas heartbeat law.
A federal judge in Texas ruling late Wednesday the state's near total ban on abortions is unconstitutional.
The judge who authored this opinion is an Obama appointee. He's got an agenda.
A couple weeks ago, the Supreme Court denied in a 5-4 application a stay of the injunctive relief and let it stay in effect. So then what happened was Planned Parenthood went back to the U.S. District Court judge and said, hey, basically, we think the Supreme Court, didn't address this properly. You address it properly.
Even the judge who blocked the law, acknowledging another court could rule differently, but writing, this court will not sanction one more day.
Who are these other courts? Perhaps you're referring, Judge Pittman, to the Supreme Court of the United States that denied a stay. Don't you realize you are an inferior judicial tribunal?
U.S. District Judge Robert Pittman wrote, quote, a person's right under the Constitution to choose to obtain an abortion prior to fetal viability is well established. Fully aware that depriving its citizens of this right by direct state action would be flagrantly unconstitutional, the state contrived an unprecedented and transparent statutory scheme to do just that.
I tend to agree entirely with Justice Thomas, who has said time and again, find me in the Constitution of the United States where it says someone has a right to an abortion. Well, you're going to look in vain in the Constitution of the United States to find that because it doesn't exist.
A heartbeat is indicative that there is a human life. When a person's heart stops beating, they are declared dead. This heartbeat means there is life. It is a living human being. It's not just a blob of tissue.